guys, and welcome to my review of Haikyuu chapter 241. This chapter basically gets us almost to the end, I believe, since I still believe Karasuno will take 2 sets in a row, but I've said that every time, so let's just ignore that. This chapter had a few points which I think are really interesting to talk about, so let's just talk about this first. The first one is, of course, Tanaka having become a really strong server because of course the people who didn't take part in the special training camp, so not the Kageyama training camp and the Tsuginata training camp, they all stayed back at their school and they practiced their serves. And as the commentators comment on, Karasuno seemed to have a lot of strong servers all of a sudden, but that leaves room for more errors made from their side because they still don't have full control over their serves. And as Tanaka comments on his first serve, he really wanted the first one he made to be like a no-touch service ace that just went in smoothly, but it just doesn't because he has a net in, if I remember correctly, or at the very least he just almost doesn't make it. But he does get them a point, and he gets them several points actually, even though all his serves aren't the best, he still gets them, even if they do return the ball and stuff. But he served, I believe, 3 times before the team eventually takes a point. But we also have Asahi having a really strong serve. Just before he serves, he says 80%, which I believe is his success rate at this point. But he makes a complete no-touch clean service ace, which the commentators again comment on, which is really nice. That is like a direct reply to the opponent team because their ace just had a perfect no-touch service ace, which is really great. I really like when Asahi shows that he's the ace and shows that he can do stuff and bring the team forward. When they really need a point, he gets them that point. I just really like that side of Asahi because he's just grown a lot from when we met him the first time, and he was really timid and cowardly and just had no confidence in his abilities because of that extreme loss he'd experienced without the co and their bloggers. So it's just really amazing to see how much he's grown. I said this especially when they fought Tateko in the training, their training match against Tateko, like we could really see how Asahi had grown here. But especially in this match because it's the first official match and there's more pressure. And it'd be really good for Karasuno to just have their first match be a really clean match with where they win 2 sets and the other team just doesn't win anything, because that gives them that confidence boost that they need. Instead of the first match they have against like a kind of a no-name opponent being a really hard one to get through, because we want the hard matches to be against opponents we know are worth something, like really worth something. Not that the national teams aren't worth anything, but you know, Fukurodani, Nekoma, Itachiyama, other schools that we know a lot of. So it'd be really great for them to just win this cleanly, and Asahi seems to be pushing the team forward to do this. And we also have, by the end, I'm just gonna stay with the third years for a bit, by the end when Suga comes in, you can just feel like, I felt like when Suga stepped onto court, I felt like that was Karasuno's victory march. I felt like now that Suga is here, the third years will take control and they'll push the team forward because they are the third years. They're the ones who've dreamt of this the longest. They're the ones who've been through everything. They've been on Karasuno's lowest point, and now they're gonna take Karasuno back to their highest point. And I just feel like Suga will bring the team together, and especially the third years, and we'll have an amazing moment like when we ended the Shiratorizawa match and they just hugged each other and cried. I feel like they'll take that experience and they'll be like, okay, we can do this, we can win this match. And just, yeah, it'll be really great. And just going to Daichi because the first years, Kageyama and Tsuki, they have a bit of a mess up, which Daichi predicts actually, because Kageyama tosses the ball a little too high for Tsuki, so he misses it completely, which I believe is a combination of 2 things. First of all, Tsuki is tired. Kageyama notices this, and Tsuki generally has lower stamina than most of the other members because he hasn't been training as hard as the others from the beginning, which means that he's still building up the stamina he probably has in him somewhere. And then generally, as we found out in earlier on, I believe it must be 20-25 chapters ago at this point, Tsuki generally has a higher point of impact than he originally believed. Like, he can jump higher than he ever thought he could. So Kageyama has been steadily trying to increase the height on his tosses to Tsuki, but this late in the game, Tsuki just won't have the stamina to pull through with these tosses. So it's a combination of Kageyama forgetting for a moment that Tsuki is as tired as he is, and Tsuki then just probably maybe holding back a little bit, but then again just not having the stamina to jump as high as he potentially could, which Daichi then predicts and saves the ball when Tsuki can't reach it, and just like taps it over, which is really great. I really liked that moment because it just looked like they were gonna fail completely, but then it was saved, because this is I believe this is the third time in recent matches that Kageyama has messed up a toss like this. He did it once with Hinata, where Hinata ended up spiking it over with his left hand. Tsuki did the same in the Shiratorizawa match, and now this time where they had a third person save them from just losing a point right there and then. But I thought it was really great that we had this focus on the third years and then also Tanaka. Because yeah, that was just really great. Another point I want to make is that at some point the opponent team coach, he makes a comment on like just spiking because the Karasuno blockers aren't really that great. And I remember just as I read it, I was like in my bed eating breakfast, and I was like, okay, Tsuki, you go show them. You go show them that Karasuno's blockers are better than this. Because at that point it was Hinata who was frontline. But it's really interesting that we haven't really seen the Karasuno bloggers be as good as they can be, because they were extremely good against Shiratorizawa, even though like Tsuki only stopped one of Ushibaka's spikes. They were still like, they were coordinated, they were effective, they made it easier for Nishinoya to predict where the ball would be and just in general get to the ball, and they were just really well put together, and they were good blockers. They weren't Dr. Co-level blockers, but they were good, because they had Tsuki commanding them around, like telling them what to do and just taking control of their blocks, which I would really love for Tsuki to do again, especially now that he's grown so much, because from the point of the Shiratorizawa match where he got his moment, he's been hooked on volleyball, and he's had his training camp where he started to realize more things, and we've had as I just talked about, he figured out that he can jump higher than he initially thought, and he's just in general been training more and more. So it'd be really interesting to see Tsuki take control of their blockers again and just show what he's made of and show how much he's grown even since the Shiratorizawa match. But as I also said in the last chapter, I believe that we will see this blocking fully explored from Tsuki's side when we meet Nekoma, because Tsuki's style of blocking is based on everything that Kuro has taught him. So yeah, it'll be a showdown between the two of them at some point. Of course, we'll also be focusing on Kenma and Hinata's, their rivalry, but I believe that we'll see a lot of Tsuki and Kuro as well. And of course Love and Kageyama, and especially like those two duos. So that'll be really interesting. But yeah, overall I think that's what I have to say about this chapter. Of course a few more things happened, but I feel like those were the most important things, and those were the things that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, I know that I have some of you who only watch my Haikyuu videos, even though there are like only 30 of you who watch these videos, but just as a disclaimer, I won't be home next Thursday. So if you want a review of the next chapter a little later than usual, just leave a comment, or I will just put my thoughts of the next week chapters in the review I make for the chapter after next week. So it'll either be like one video of 2 chapters that I'll do a review of, or I'll just make the review a little later. You leave in the comments with what you want, and if you don't leave a comment, I'll just put them in one video. But yeah, if you like anything that I have to say, you can leave a thumbs up, leave in the comments below what you thought of the chapter, and you can subscribe if you want to see more, and until next time, bye!